Hey, what's up, you guys? Thank you for joining and tuning in to my podcast, Reveal, with Don Vinny Boykin, The Power Within. And for those who are returning, thank you so much for your support and your love. This is episode 3. Wow, I still can't believe it. It's episode 3 of my podcast, Reveal. So this episode is centered around a phrase, maybe even a word or a topic you would say. The word is grace. This word has been on my mind and been around me for the past couple of days, maybe even a week now. Um, I first thought back to it. I don't know if you guys saw the AMAs recently, just with Kelly Rowland and her speech that she gave when she was giving away award, and it was to Chris Brown. And if you go back, the crowd was booing because Chris Brown actually won the award and he wasn't present. And she just gave a speech and she's like, no, we're not going to do that. I want to thank Chris Brown for his talent and for him to just be able to put out good R&B music. And when I saw that, I just couldn't help but just look at Kelly's grace and her presence and how well she handled that just so elegantly. And it brought me back to my first time meeting Miss Kelly Rowland. It had to have been about 2004, 2005. It was the Destiny Fulfilled tour with Kelly, Michelle, and Beyonce. And I'll never forget, I would work 2 jobs that summer to be able to drive to Atlanta to go to that tour because it was Destiny Fulfilled. It was their last concert of them being together. And it was during that moment I got to go backstage and meet the 3. And I will never forget walking up to Kelly. And I was telling her, like, oh my gosh, like I worked 2 jobs. I was working at a factory. Like, I would have never imagined me working at a factory. And I was also working at Taco Bell as well, too. So I worked 2 jobs that summer to be able to afford tickets and drive to Atlanta and get a hotel room and stay for that weekend. And so I told Kelly, I was like, yeah, I worked 2 jobs. I worked at a factory. And she was like, oh my gosh. She was like, why would you do that? And then Beyonce turned. She was like, oh, like really? And then Michelle was like, that is awesome. Like, why would you do that? And just to have that moment and for me to feel their presence. Um, and that was back before like my first time meeting celebrities. So I didn't know how that would be. I've heard rumors of other celebrities, but everything that Kelly gave, was just grace. And it took me back to that comment she made about Chris Brown. I felt the same energy and the same presence from her back then that she gave on that stage that night. Um, and that was my first time meeting my hero, which is Beyonce. And she gave the same elegance, the same grace, and you see it all throughout her performance. And then I've come to meet Beyonce and know her, after that, and she's been the same woman since then. And so I later found TMZ had, hound Kelly. She was walking to her car, and they asked her about the situation, and she was like, we all need grace. She was like, I need grace. We all need grace. And then when she said that, and she said that she needed grace, I'm looking at her like, girl, you have grace. But I know that being in the industry, and not even being in the industry, but being human, period. People put us on pedestals. They look at us in a certain way. They expect us to act a certain way or live up to their expectations till we sometimes may fall short of their grace. And so I wanted to find like a definition because, like I said, that word just stuck with me, and just to see her on that stage, and then it just brought back memories of me meeting her, and the ladies of Destiny's Child, like they had grace. So I wanted to find um, a definition for grace because I know some of you might have heard of that word. It might even be in your belief system or your faith, but I just want to touch on it for a moment today and share my truth and then the official definition of grace. So I kind of want to start off with one of the definitions that I found of grace. It's an unmerited divine assistance given to humans for their regeneration or sanctification. And I thought that was just an awesome kind of like, clear topic of grace because I found like several other, definitions of grace, some of them biblical, some of them non-biblical. And so I just thought that was just something that, we could all get in and hone into, with that definition of grace. And just going back, like it's in the divine assistance given to humans, like it's in existence and assistance, I believe, that we all are given as humans. You know, I feel it could be a form of a light, it could be a form of a presence, it could be a form of many things. And I think that we all have experienced it. We may not know what it is, or we just might just be lost and need that encouragement to find grace and be, averted into it. And I just remember I talked about, meeting Destiny's Child and having that grace with them. But I remember the first time I encountered grace was just a traumatic experience, almost life changing and almost losing my life. I had to have been about 16. I forget, my dad and my mom bought me my first car. It was a candy apple red Mustang, Ford Mustang. And I got into a car accident within literally a week of me having the car. Like, yeah, I had a Mustang for like a whole week. Was very proud of it. And I was speeding, going too fast, ended up totaling the car. Car flipped over like 3 or 4 times, landed in the cow pasture. And I just remember, not having my seatbelt on, number one. And there was a presence, like a force, like two hands to like push my chest back into the seat, kind of like a protecting mechanism to protect me. Because, like I said, I didn't have my seatbelt on. And it was so bad to where I couldn't get out of the car because, like I said, the car flipped over. I couldn't get out the doors. The doors were jammed. And I had to get out through the back window of the car. And so it was very like traumatizing to me. And anybody that's been in a car accident knows that, once you experience that, a total of vehicle or any kind of accident, like your first one, it's kind of difficult for you to like get back in a car and drive again. But it was grace that allowed me to, number one, walk out of the accident. You know, thank God there was no other vehicles involved. It was just a one-car accident because there's some accidents where there's other people involved. You know, someone could have lost their life or, you could have even lost your life. And like I said, just the grace for me to be able to walk out alive and be able to tell the story today. And then not only that, but to be able to get behind the vehicle again and drive again, like shortly after that. It took a lot. Like I said, I was 16, really just started driving. I know some people, they get into a car accident one time and they're like, you know what, I'm done. I'm not going to drive again. I can't do it. So it's through their grace that found me and that finds them to be able to get back and start driving again. So, yeah, like I said, I found grace at an early age, which it probably was a lot sooner, but that's the first time I can remember. A lot of you may say, yeah, it's grace that you were here, that you were born. But, you kind of think about it as like, you're here for a reason, you have a purpose. So it's like, yeah, I was born for a reason. Was that grace? But, you have your beliefs, I have mine. But I'm just saying that that's the first age where I could understand, that was grace, you know. But yeah, so there's a lot that I've encountered in my life and that you may be going through right now you may be trying to figure out like what is grace. And it just takes me back to the AMAs where just Kelly just went up there. She looked great. She looked amazing. And you never know what she's going through. Like she's in the public eye, so she's wearing the weight of so many people. Like she's a mother, she's a wife, she's a public figure. People look up to her. So she had all of that. Like who's to say she could have lost a lot in her career for just saying what she said, but she had grace, and she spared him grace because, I'm a fan of Chris Brown's artistry. I think he's an excellent artist, and I think when it comes to celebrities, we see them as this big figure. We don't see them as an artist. Like they're creating a body of work because it's their talent. I know there's a lot going on with them, but they're special and gifted people. So we should give them grace and show them mercy. Whether they're in the tabloids, half the stuff you can't really believe, you know what I'm saying? Because that makes money and makes paper too, so you have to just look past all of that and go beyond the noise and look into the art of a person. And it goes back to you. There may be certain things that people don't like about you or things that people say about you, and you're like, well, I don't understand why is it they don't like this. I don't understand why when I do this, a person says that about me. It's because of your grace. You walk in a different pair of shoes than they do. And not only that, but your life is different from their life. Some people can handle pressure, some people can't. You know, just because people don't understand the things and the way you do what you do, you know, that's your grace, that's your testimony, that's your story. And I'm here to stand on it. Another crazy thing too is in my last podcast I talked about, someone that was so monumental into my career and into my life and the reason why I pursued fashion and didn't know it, just sitting back and connecting the dots. You know, um, my elementary school principal, Miss Ann Simmons, I just got word that she passed away, these past couple of days. And I remember there was grace, her presence and everything, her grace, her elegance, how she wore her outfits, how she kept her hair, and she was just a well kept woman. I said at the age of 16, I knew what grace was with being in a car accident. But now going back and just thinking about the grace I had in my life, I had to think back to her. And then not only that, but it just goes back to, there's the old song saying, I had a praying grandmother. I had two praying grandmothers, my mom and my dad's side. And I will never forget, my mom said that my grandmother prayed for her, and the same with my father. I know my grandmother prayed for her, and not only her, but my entire family on both sides. And that grace just had to come from someone beyond them. And the same thing with my mother. Like I know she prays for me, and then vice versa. That's still grace at the end of the day. I just think it's some type of protection. It's an energy. It's a presence. Something that is beyond you and bigger than you. There are so many things that we go through, that people just don't understand. And then I heard T.D. Jakes say that, grace is the way you walk into a room. It's the way you carry yourself. It's the way that people don't know your story and they judge you because they don't know it. That's what is called grace. I think that's a phenomenal analogy is because you can walk into a room and feel somebody's presence. And you're like, wow, they have a strong presence. But you don't know what's behind that presence. You can listen to someone's voice and be like, oh, their voice is so soothing, or they have a really nice voice. And you don't know what led them to be able to define that voice. It goes back to just me losing my father. It takes a tragedy or a dark place to be able to find your grace, to be able to go through something. Because there's a lot of people that go through things and they lose loved ones, they lose friends. And I will never forget, when I lost my father, I lost my father in June, and then literally in October, a couple of months after, I lost my best friend. So I really didn't have time to grieve my father, and then right after that, I lost my best friend, and I didn't really grieve my best friend because I was still going through the loss of my father, but I had that grace to be able to still be there for his family and my friends, to be able to go through that and go through the funeral and everything like that, because I know what that pain felt like. And I know that I could be a comfort to others, but just what I just recently went through. And then not only that, I had a best friend that lost a father literally the year before my father passed. So I didn't quite not know what it was or how to feel to lose a parent, but I saw it kind of like an out of body experience of what he went through. It's kind of similar to what I was going through, but I talked about just taking the 21 days or just taking time to just sit in the stillness and the quietness of your voice and kind of talk to yourself and kind of talk it out, and I believe grace will show you, like mercy will come to you. I had to, during that dark time, go to a place and just ask questions to myself. Yeah, I talk to myself, just to balance myself. If I was crying, I would ask myself, why am I crying? Or if I had a pain in my chest, I was like, okay, why is this pain there? And then there would be times where I'd be like, I'm sad. Okay, why am I sad? I'm sad because I want to pick up the phone and talk to my father. Okay, well, why can't I talk to him? He's no longer here. Okay, why is he no longer here? He passed away, like he's gone, you know, to a better place. He's no longer hurting. And so those conversations with myself, was where my grace came through, my light came through, and it's what brought me to where I'm at today. And I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. You're not going to find the perfect gesture, the perfect, way, but I'm just telling you the quietness and the stillness, can do a lot for you, more ways than one. You know, we're so wrapped up in social media and the power of free speech and just being able to log on and shoot a text or get on social media and just say our feelings. There's some things that you have to go through on your own. It's not meant for the world. There's certain things that you have to go through that is a test. And that test literally can be your testimony and it could be your grace. Because I believe that when you showcase whatever it is you're going through or just having it out on social media, whether you're mad with your ex or you're mad with your current relationship or you're mad with your friend or you're mad with something that's going on at work, you're putting that out there in the world for people to see and they're going to poke fun. They're going to know like, oh, such and such is going on with her. That's why she's acting like this. You're leaving room for judgment and for people to criticize you. And they have the fuel to say and do whatever they want with you because you gave them that option to. I'm a firm believer that just kill them with grace. Go through whatever you're going through. Sit in the stillness of your home, talk it out. And then when you're through it, and they'd be like, wow, what's going on with you? You look good today. Thank you. Or you haven't been coming around. Everything's been okay, but you look good. That's grace. That's grace. I'm so honored to be able to just have this platform, to be able to come to you all and talk to you just about the things that come to me. When I started this podcast, I had the idea of writing it out and having a script and everything like that. And my main thing is if my energy is not right, I don't want to come into your home. I don't want to come into your house. I don't want to come into your car, your work, your job. Like I want it to come straight from within an energy source to you, just to let you know that whatever it is that you're going through, it's going to be okay. There'll be good days, there'll be bad days, and there'll be days that you just don't understand. It's okay. Just take it one day at a time. Ask questions. I'm here. There is so much out there that you can do to better yourself and find your purpose. You know, I'm finding mine and I'm living mine now. And we can do it together. Just like I said, I'm not trying to reach millions. I'm just trying to reach you. And I also want to thank you so much for just coming back and supporting me. If you're not following me on my social media platforms, you can follow me on Instagram at Don Vinny Boykin. You can also find me on Facebook at Don Vinny Boykin. Also, check out my website. My team and I, we put a lot into this project, into everything that we're doing, not only for ourselves, but to help you be a better you. And if you have any questions, if you have a topic, if there's anything that's on your mind or anything that you need help with, reach out. You can comment below. You can comment here. Like I said, I wanted to create this safe place where we can communicate. If there's anything that you're going through, you can email me. You can just reach out. I'm not going to say I have all the answers. I don't. If something that I don't, I'm going to damn sure find a way. I'm going to ask. The same thing with you. If you don't have the answers, it's okay to ask. It's okay to have someone in your corner that's rooting for you. And then if you don't have anybody in your corner that's rooting for you, look around. Change it. Change your environment. Change the places you're going. Change the places that you're currently in, the situation that you're in. If you're out here trying to find love, trying to find a relationship, if you're out here in a relationship and you know that it's not working, you feel it in your heart, you have the power within to change. And yes, change is scary. It is. I had somebody a couple of days ago like, oh, you've done so much. You modeled, acted, you did this, you've done that. Now you have a podcast. What makes you just up and just say, hey, I want to try this? It's the word try. I'll try anything once. If I don't like it, I can say, hey, I tried it, it didn't work. Or even if it didn't work, I can ask myself, okay, what did I do wrong? So I challenge you, like I challenged you in the last podcast. Sit still, find your purpose. Whatever it is you're going through, you may not even be in the place to find your purpose at this moment. Maybe a situation that you want to change in your life. You may want to start that business, like I said. You may want to get out of that relationship. You may want to find a relationship. You may want to find a relationship with yourself and love you. Make that change today. And once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Your support, your love, just keeps me going. It keeps me lifted. All right. So once again, comment below. And thank you so much for tuning in to my podcast, Reveal with Don Vinny Boykin. And please like and share. Until next time, God bless.